We're going to be talking about the gentrification of East Harlem, which happens to be one of the most popular areas for gentrification in the city today. It's really on top. But let's step back so we're all on the same page and understand what is gentrification. If you do like the video and stick with it to the end, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe. So what is gentrification? It's the process where the character of an urban area changes by a new class of people moving in and replacing the current residents that live there. And there are many ways that things can be gentrified, many resources. Typically the areas that gentrify are high crime, low income areas. Now, there are different types of gentrification, as I said before. There's environmental gentrification, there's transportation gentrification, and there's financial gentrification. Transit gentrification is a common thing that is used, whereas for the new residents, they provide new access to public transportation is provided for the residents of the area. That makes the area very desirable and opens the door for gentrification. Racial gentrification is probably one of the oldest, simply as white flight. And that is a very common form and sort of dovetails with financial gentrification, which is whereas it's not based on race, it's based on money. Then there's a new one, green or climate gentrification. Another element that East Harlem or New York City is looking at, and actually they tried it in Queens, is something called the 15-minute city. And what it is an environmental place where all your needs and services, your jobs, your social life, education and medical services and shopping can be provided in a 15-minute commute, a walk, a bike ride. New York City is looking rapidly at doing something like this, and actually was attempted in an area in Queens. The 15-minute city was attempted. The benefits are quite obvious. There's resource sharing, lower CO2 emissions, better for local businesses, public transportation, driverless cars. There's another type of gentrification. Another thing that comes from gentrification is topophilia. I know it's a big word, but that's something that once you've lived in a neighborhood, let's say for 50 years, and everybody you've known is gone, and every business you've associated with has changed, and the environment has changed, people have an emotional attachment to what they've lost. Again, if you like the video, it's time to give it a thumbs up. Now, the tools used in gentrification are redlining, whereas insurance companies will not offer insurance to certain areas. Eminent domain, where the government can come in and give you market value for your house for something that the government needs to be building on. There's zoning, which is zoning for multiple houses or zoning for large lots. Used before in the past was something called restrictive covenants, which is in the actual lease or title. It says you cannot sell your home to X, Y, or Z. And then there's blockbusting, an old technique that was used, whereas, for example, someone would call someone in a neighborhood that they want they would call someone in a neighborhood and pretend as if they're calling up a black woman in a white neighborhood to make that white person feel that there are black people moving in that neighborhood, to sort of make them feel that they want to sell their house. Then there's the growth of mixed service buildings that have commercial and residential. Well, East Harlem in the 1900s were basically factories and old warehouses, chemical plants, slums. The geography I'm defining as East Harlem or Spanish Harlem is north to the Harlem River, east to the East River, south to 97th Street, and west to Fifth Avenue. It was farmlands. Initially, there were Jewish people lived in that area. They had moved up from Lower Manhattan, and at one point in Lower Manhattan, the reason why people started moving there from Lower Manhattan is because it was one of the highest density places in the world. It was a melting pot. Later, the Irish came and moved up, and then the Italians came to East Harlem, to Pleasant Avenue, and along the same lines, when the Italians, there were great restaurants established, the Italian culture. Some interesting thing is that it was famous for the crime families, the Gotti family, 109th Street mob, the Lucchese family. At one time, that area in East Harlem was the largest open drug market in the world. The Great Migration began, blacks started to move up. There was two phases of that. In Puerto Rico, there was something called the Jones Act, the Jones Act, and Operation Bootstrap, which forced Puerto Ricans to look for other places to live other than Puerto Rico, and a lot of them came to New York. They moved to San Juan Hill, and from San Juan Hill they moved to East Harlem, and it became El Barrio, a Puerto Rican neighborhood. And the term Nuyorican was coined there, actually. As time went on, Central Americans moved in, South Americans, Mexicans, Caribbeans. So right now, the demographics of East Harlem is 52% Hispanic, 35% black, 7% white. The property is very heavily valued, and there's about a loss expected of 2,500 rent control houses, and by 2030 they expect a loss of 4,200 houses lost. So if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and have a good day.